The B-25 Mitchell was the most widely used medium-range bomber of World War II. Built in larger numbers than any other American twin-engine bomber, the B-25 was tough. She carried a respectable bomb load of 3,000 pounds and was highly versatile. Named after Billy Mitchell, America's most outspoken advocate of air power, the Mitchell lived up to its namesake by doing the impossible. Perhaps its most famous mission was the bombing of Tokyo, led by Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Doolittle in 1942. The mission required launching the attack from an aircraft carrier off the coast of Japan. Not designed for carrier operations, taking off from a 700-foot carrier deck was ambitious. But in the hands of a capable pilot, she could fly from the aircraft carrier Hornet, even in heavy seas. Captain Ted Lawson was a pilot on the Doolittle raid. He was amazed at what the B-25 could do. Our wheel chocks were jerked out, and when I released the brakes, we quivered forward. We rambled dangerously close to the edge, but I braked in time and got the left wheel back on the white line and picked up speed. The Hornet's deck pitched wildly. The next split second, I glanced down hurriedly at what had been the white line, and it was water. The B-25 was used in almost every configuration imaginable. She was used for high altitude and low-level bombing. In the Pacific Theater, she laid mines, launched torpedoes, and dropped depth charges. The B-25H version was converted to an attack bomber with forward-firing 50 caliber machine guns and a 75mm cannon. Pilots found her a steady and reliable flying platform for any mission. Pilot Ted Lawson praised the B-25. It helps itself more than any plane I ever worked on or flew. It was more than an inanimate mass of material, intricately geared, wired, and riveted into a tight package. It's a good, trustworthy friend. This B-25 was used during the war. In peacetime, it served as a firefighting aircraft until 1971, when it was used in the film Catch-22. Carl Scholl and Tony Ritzman purchased it for their company, Aero Trader, which specializes in restoring B-25s. Carl Scholl.
It was built in 1940, designed in the late 30s, and it was probably the most significant medium bomber that the United States had during the war. It was used by all the Allies. The British used it, the French, the Dutch, the Russians. Probably the only critical thing about a B-25 and its flight characteristics is you have to watch your speed on takeoff. You need to be able to get close to VMC, which is minimum single-engine control speed. If you lose an engine on takeoff and you're below that speed, then the airplane wants to roll over and into the ground. If you lose an engine on takeoff below that speed, you have to immediately bring the power back on the good engine, both engines, and just land or crash straight ahead. Otherwise, you wind up upside down. The B-25 was a pretty straightforward airplane to fly. It didn't have any bad handling characteristics, so it didn't get any of the nicknames like the B-26 Marauder did, or the Widowmaker and things like that. It was a good airplane, and everyone enjoyed flying it. You never talked to a pilot that did not like the B-25. was used in every theater of operation. Every campaign saw B-25 usage. There were B-25s in North Africa and Italy, B-25s launched out of England and France. Probably the most usage was in the South Pacific, where the Navy and the Marines, and the way this one's painted in Marine colors, used B-25s for anti-shipping operations and strafing roles. The 345th Air Apaches was a pretty famous bomb group that tore up a lot of Japanese airplanes and shipping on the ground. Nice. It's a beautiful flying airplane. It's always treats you right. All you have to do is pay attention, stay on top of it, and it'll get you out of any bad situation.
One other bomber that played a significant role in the Pacific theater was the TBM Avenger. This hardy torpedo bomber was first used in the Battle of Midway, where 5 of the 6 Avengers were shot down. Losses were high because torpedo bombing was quite risky. The pilot had to fly toward the target at wave-top level, release the torpedo, and then evade a barrage of enemy fire. To survive these missions, the Avenger was built tough. Agility and speed were sacrificed for armor plating and durable construction. She was the first Navy aircraft with a powered gun turret and carried a crew of 3. The leading torpedo bomber for the Allies, she was commissioned for the navies of the United States, Britain, and New Zealand. The Avenger was the last aircraft built specifically for torpedo bombing. This Avenger, like most World War II aircraft still flying, was built at the close of the war. She has served as a transport, trainer, and crop duster. At the controls is stunt pilot Chuck Wentworth.
The Grumman TBM Avenger, powered by a Curtiss Wright R2600 with 1,900 horsepower, one of the largest single-engine aircraft built for World War II, particular aircraft used by the Navy in their short carriers, and with the 1,900 horse enabled it to do the takeoffs, sometimes without catapults.
The Avenger is the first torpedo bomber able to hold a torpedo completely within its fuselage. She's among the first carrier aircraft with hydraulic wings. The wings are also unusual in that they have leading-edge slots. These direct the airflow over the wings to create greater lift at low speeds when the aircraft is flying with the nose high, such as during carrier landings.
I would probably refer to this as a big baby carriage, a real docile aircraft on the ground and in the air. Very forgiving. Will tolerate quite a bit of mistakes unless you get pretty deep into it, and it'd be too late then in anything. President Bush flew one painted in the same colors as this in World War II in the Battle of the Philippine Seas. Once bailed out and another time belly landed in the water. He remembered it being a heavy aircraft to fly, which everyone thinks it is, but it's a reliable airplane. It gets you home most every time.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification icon for the latest videos as they are released. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one. Ciao for now.